So I think baptism is a universal experience, a universal rite of passage, known to all spiritual traditions and all cultures. And I think what it is when you come to a time in your journey when you're tired of suffering and you're tired of feeling hurt and injured and you're tired of shaming and blaming and attacking other people, you become aware of how you are navigating the world and what you're projecting into the world. And you make a conscious choice to seek support in surrendering anger, injury, shame, guilt, grief. You make a conscious choice to surrender. And that experience of surrender is a complete and total letting go in its truest form, in its deepest form. And what is revealed through that experience, what remains through that experience, is an experience of love. And that love is beyond ideas, it's beyond concept, it's not a thing in the mind. It's a letting go of the mind. It's a letting go of the part of you that needs to wrap everything in a story. That's the ego. And what is revealed through that sort of surrender is love. What remains is love. And that is a tapping into or an experience of source. That love transcends your body. That love is a field. That love is consciousness. That love is a universal sense that all things are connected. And we use words like God, like Christ, like Holy Spirit in the Christian tradition. But there are words throughout all spiritual traditions and religious traditions for and philosophical traditions and scientific traditions like physics for what that source is, for what that essence of all things is. But it is only discovered in complete and total surrender. And when you allow that space within yourself and you turn that into a daily practice, a daily commitment, then you want to love on people. You want to help people. You have no distinction anymore between people or life, that there is some other. There is no other. In true love, in oneness in God, there is no other. It's just complete nonsense. It's a made-up idea that is used to separate and divide and to use and abuse and to manipulate us. And so we are all on this journey. We're all on this journey of life, this spiritual journey. And in this journey, we are all struggling with our attachments to our grief, to our anger, to our sadness, to our stories, to our trauma, to our shame. We're all in it to varying degrees. We're all in it. We're all experiencing it. There's really no point in being self-righteous in that or to point the finger at others because we're all navigating it. We're all experiencing it. We're all co-creating it. It being this society and this experience that we are co-creating. We're all taking part in it to varying degrees. what gives me great hope is that I see a great awakening taking place. You could call it in some ways a great baptism. And while there is all of the talk of fear and division and hurtful, harmful, while there is a revealing of the darkness in the world, there is also the equal and opposite emergence of the light, of an entire world of people who are willfully opening their hearts and their minds and surrendering, and they're recognizing that they don't want to be part of co-creating this dark thing anymore. And while there's this emergence of this sort of bipolarity, of course there's going to be more pressure within that. There's going to be more acting out within that. There's going to be more resistance. What anyone who is in the dark does not ever want is to be pulled into the light. They don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to be responsible. They want to do all the things they do in the dark, and they don't ever want to take any responsibility for it. And they will hurt and harm and use and abuse and manipulate and deny anyone who tries to drag them into the light, anyone who tries to hold them accountable. Now again, this is on a spectrum. This is not black and white. This is on a spectrum. However, there is a clear distinction that I observe, and that is we all unconsciously act out our shit. We all unconsciously get caught up in this thing. We all develop a sense of self that is a response to or an adaptation to trying to survive and trying to find meaning in this thing, in it. So we all participate in it unconsciously, and we all act out our shit unconsciously. But as we are willing to grow, as we're willing to face it, as we're willing to surrender, as we're willing to go into baptism, we take more and more responsibility. We become more aware of our connection to all things, and therefore we become more aware. We actually feel the suffering of other things, not just people. We feel suffering. It's not being too sensitive. It's not a pathology. It is actually awareness, an awareness that transcends just the experience of thought or emotion, is just energetic. And that's, for lack of a better word, it's consciousness, it's energetic, it's love. It's a universal experience that is revealed when you radically surrender. In my heart of hearts, I believe it's exactly what we call Christ and Holy Spirit and God. And God comes in many languages. And there is no separation and division in that place. So what I observe is that we all unconsciously participate in this in the name of survival and meaning and purpose and belonging. And along the way, the more conscious you become, the more willing you are to look into that dark place within yourself, the more willing you are to look into that shadow, into that unconscious place. Really, the more you're willing to look into the place that you shoved all the shit you don't want to look at and you don't want to feel and you don't want to remember, you don't want to take responsibility for. The opposite of narcissism is looking in that place and being willing to face the fear in there and being willing to face the shame in there and being willing to just look at it and say, okay, I became someone in order to survive in this thing, and we all doing that to varying degrees. Some go through much worse experiences than others. Some need to adapt more than others. But if you are willing to progressively work through that unconscious storing away of your pain and your shame and your guilt, your sin, so to speak, then you become more conscious, and you become more loving, and you become more connected, and you become more disgusted and angered by hurtful, harmful, nasty, rotten, wrong, agreement-breaking behavior. But there needs to be a clear distinction made between this unconscious behavior and conscious, willful using and abusing and hurting and harming and preying upon. So what I notice is when I get rid of all the labels, all the sides, all the others, all the rights and the lefts and the reds and the blues and all everywhere in between, what I notice is there is a certain culture of people who, for reasons we can discuss and debate and explore, became separated from source. They went into denial, possibly out of survival as children. And in that denial, they had to deny their connection to source, or they denied their connection to source. They denied their connection to love or their need for love, which means they also denied that in all other beings, in all other things. And something I have kind of obsessed over in my life is trying to understand why people would behave in this way. And I'm talking about like the truly sadistic, the truly authoritarian, the truly genocidal, the truly predatory forces in this world who consciously choose to treat life as a commodity and as a source of profit, pleasure, power, dominion. And I think it is a useful study for all of us to truly understand that distinction, because this culture of people who consciously choose to use and abuse and manipulate and to treat all life as a source of sustenance. Because remember, if you are separated from source, if you are severed from source for whatever reason, if you became severed from love and you are living in resistance and denial, and you force the world around you to go into agreement with your version of the way you want the world to be in order to sustain that resistance and denial, and you'll hurt and harm and punish anyone who tries to hold you accountable to your actions within that. So it's the opposite of empathy. It's the opposite of compassion. It's the opposite of love. It is a severing of those things. And it's important that we understand that, because those people in that culture exist in all colors, in all cultures, in all political parties, in all religions, in all institutions. That type of person who is behaving in that way is completely and totally distinct from all of us who unconsciously act out our shit, and because of our pain and suffering and because of our own sense of empathy within ourselves, we get tired of that suffering and we decide we want to grow through it. And in doing so, love is revealed, God is revealed, Christ is revealed, connection is revealed. And you don't want to hurt people anymore, and you don't want to hurt life anymore, and you want to be more symbiotic with the world and with life, and you want to take responsibility in it. Part of that growth also comes with a masculine and feminine balance. And so ironically, part of growing and part of becoming aware of that oneness is that you want to set boundaries with and you want to hold accountable those who are choosing to behave in a way that is inherently denying of the value of life or connection. And I think it's useful that we understand that, because that is the source of most of the suffering in the world.